Okay, and welcome back, Mr. JP Almeida, Professor Almeida, up real late to do a video on OBS Studio because over the weekend, a couple of people in my periphery have asked about creating videos. They want to know how the sausage is made, so I'm going to share what I do with OBS Studio because I really don't want to repeat myself that much. And then that way, if anyone asks, I can just point to this video and hopefully you'll learn how all of this works and maybe you can get started creating your own videos. Anyway, let me get started here. OBS Studio is free and open source. It's cross-platform, meaning you can use it on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. And if you're a Linux user like me, check your repos. It's probably there available to you. Now, a lot of times this software is used for live streaming. You see this a lot in the gaming community, but you can also use OBS to record videos where you can then take the files and upload them into places like YouTube, BitChute, or you could just pass it around. Maybe if it's for a class, you can upload it into Canvas, and then the students have the raw file that way, and they can just play it right then and there. So it has a lot of uses. It's pretty versatile. Uh, Once you get it installed and you run it for the first time, they're going to ask you, do you want to use it for live streaming or do you want to use it for recording? So in my case, I told it I want to record and then the wizard takes care of the rest. So this is what OBS Studio looks like, and I know it looks something straight out of Inception here because I only have one monitor. So I'll kind of share some secrets to avoid this happening. But anyway, you'll see I have three different scenes here. One for my banner, which you saw at the very beginning. This is nothing more than an image file, by the way. So under sources, it would be image, and then I just point to the file. Here's one for my camera. I'm actually using a USB camera. The one that came with my ThinkPad T490 kind of sucks, and I had a USB camera anyway, so I'm using that. And then finally, my desktop, or what I call my desktop, is capturing whatever is on my screen at the moment. Now, in my office, I had a dual monitor set up, and what I would do is have OBS Studio on one monitor and whatever I was presenting would be on another monitor. So you actually map out whatever it is you want to share. And when you're recording in OBS Studio, it's going to project whatever it is within that space that you created. Now, I'm also using a USB microphone, and I'll show you how to configure that in your settings so that it's always the default. You don't really need anything too fancy to get started because I know people tend to get hung up on that. They want the best of the best. I mean, if you're going to podcast, then maybe you might want to use something better than this, maybe a 1080p or a 4K webcam. You could use those things. But for something like this, it's just a very basic setup. All right, so I'm going to get started with showing you how I create my banners like this one, and I actually use LibreOffice to do the trick. So this is LibreOffice. You'll see that I have two different templates here. I actually color code my videos depending on what the content's about. So if it's a how-to, I use my generic neutral gray template. If it's for a class, it's orange. If it's announcements, it's yellow. So let me show you real quick what I do here. So first I create the template. In other words, I design it and then I lay it out however I want it to look. And then all I have to do is just go back in and change the text here depending on what the video is about. Now once I'm done with that, I can export it. So I choose export and then I save it as a PNG. Okay, I like to use PNG because it's lossless. You'll see I've created a couple of placeholders here, in this case how to. I'm not going to overwrite because I'm already recording at the moment. So that's what it looks like with LibreOffice. Now, by the way, I'm using hotkeys to switch between scenes to avoid that look straight out of Inception. That's a trick I use. So while I'm talking to you on camera, behind the scenes, I'm getting everything all set up and ready. Okay, so for example, if I want to show you what this looks like in PowerPoint, boom, it's already set up and I'm ready to go. And here's PowerPoint. Let me whip something up real quick here. So if you were using PowerPoint, again, you would design the slide however you want, and then all you have to do is just change the text. And then once you've done all that, to go in and export it out, you just go to export in the file tab, change file type, PNG, and then when they ask you what do you want to export, you say just this one because it's really just one slide. And once you're back in OBS Studio, you just go to your image source and you point to that file. That's really all there is to it. Like I said, once you have this all figured out, it should be pretty straightforward. Okay. The camera, again, I'm using my USB camera. It should be pretty straightforward out of the box. And then finally with desktop, you map out what you want captured. In this case, it's my entire screen. You can also see how you can set the transitions. So feel free to play around with that. Finally, let me dive into settings real quick, starting with output. So you can set up how you want your files to come out. In this case, I have MKV. You could use MP4 if you'd like. For audio, make sure that you set up the proper microphone. In this case, it's my USB mic. That's by default. And then here's where you set the hotkeys, right? You'll see that for my 3 scenes, they each have a hotkey. So as I'm moving about with the video between the camera and what's on my screen, I'm using the hotkeys to do that so that I avoid this. And this is especially important if you have a single screen like that. So I can go right in and switch to the camera and then switch back like this so that it's a very seamless transition. Okay, one more thing I want to share, and that's when you're done recording the video. And I want to show you where you can go and find your raw file so that you can upload it. All right, so let me get back into my desktop. And again, you can use the hotkeys for this. You can use the hotkeys for this, and when you're done recording, you're going to find the output. On a Windows system, that's going to be in your videos folder, and then on mine, it's actually in my home directory. You can see these are the output files. Here's the one that's being recorded right now. And then what you can do is, let's say you go into YouTube onto your channel, you take this file and you upload it, and that's pretty much all there is to it, right? So I hope that this video has made some sense. And it's going to take some practice, some getting used to. Once you get the rhythm down, then it should flow a lot more smoothly. And one other thing I want to note, you're using this mostly for live streaming, but also when you're recording, expect to start over quite a bit because these are usually one-take videos. And you can pause this, of course. Let me show you real quick. You can pause this and then come right back to it. But if you misspeak, you might have to capture the time and then edit the file later. But do expect to do a lot of one takes with these. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful. Hopefully this answered some questions out there. And for those of you in my periphery who's asked, I'm sending this link to you. Let me know how it goes. I'd like to get some feedback. Anyway, take care. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.